Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Registration and International Agreement have reported that they interrogated 52 statutory instruments. Among those statutory instruments that they interrogated are statutory instruments that have given way to the implementation of government projects through a system called PPP, which is public-private partnerships. Mr. Speaker, you have heard from the report the lamentations of the committee, namely, they've observed that, number one, there is poor revenue sharing mechanism on the toll plazas that have been built on these roads that have been done under PPP. The other lamentation, Mr. Speaker, from the committee is that there is poor performance in the projects, particularly roads. Number three is timing of these projects. I want to mention, Mr. Speaker, that the concept of PPP is a very good concept in enabling government to undertake public infrastructure development when the resource envelope is thin. But the question that arises now, how are we implementing these projects, Mr. Speaker? I'll cite a few examples. I'm aware of projects that are being undertaken, some of which have been completed, some of which are underway. The Lusaka-Ndola Geo-Carriageway, Mr. Speaker, is such a project that has been undertaken or is being undertaken using this model. And the excitement with the people was that this model was going to ensure that the cost was reduced. It was announced highly that this project was going to cost $650 million, as opposed to the $1.2 billion that this project would have costed previously. Of course, the commentators forgot to announce that there were certain aspects of the roads that would be shaded off on this particular, undertaking. It will interest you, Mr. Speaker, that underway, the Minister of Finance issued another statutory instrument that now gave the consortium that is constructing the Ndola-Lusaka Geo-Carriageway the leeway to start collecting toll fees from the toll plazas along this stretch. And the rationale used with this decision was that these monies being collected were going to go towards rehabilitating the brown field, which is the existing road. I have challenged the ministers before. A typical example is on the Ndola or on the Chingola Kasumbalesa road. That bridge that was constructed on that road was washed away. It speaks to the quality, and the revelation that has been made by the Engineering Council is that there was no engagement of an external player to go and inspect the roads. Mr. Speaker, further to this, when you go to the Chingola Kasumbalesa road, when the committee interrogated the ministry, they discovered that this road has been given to the consortium. They are going to operate that road for 18 years. On a point of order, Mr. Speaker. They are going to operate this road for 18 years. They'll be collecting our money for 18 years. The calculations of the committee is that the consortium is going to recover their investment in only 6 years.
Honorable knowledge of what is obtaining on the ground. So I think the member of the Honorable Member Fonkana has been guided. You should proceed as guided. Are we together, Honorable Member?
Mr. Speaker, we are together.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, the report before this floor has stated the observations and recommendation of the committee. Namely, this committee has observed the poor quality of the roads that are being done, not me, the report. The poor quality of the roads that are being done using this model called the PPP. An example which we have already discussed before this floor, is what has happened on the Chingola-Kasumbalesa Road, a bridge that fell within 1 year of operationalization. Mr. Speaker, the committee has also lamented over the poor revenue sharing mechanism. Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
There's another point of order.
They can respond, Mr. Speaker. They can respond. That's why they are there.
Honorable member, honorable, may you take your seat? And in this language, our official language is English.
It's no.
Not Takwaba. What language is that? You speak English here.
He told me.
You went to school. One of the qualifications for you to stand as a member of parliament is that you should be grade 12. But at times I get to wonder whether you did, can you remember?
He told me.
Honorable member. May the Honorable Minister proceed to the point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And sorry to my passionate speaker and brother there, Honorable Mpundu. Mr. Speaker, I rise on point standing order number 71, which demands that the Speaker should have factual and relevance in his speech. Earlier on, before another earlier point of order was raised, he said the concessionaire built a bridge, and again, his continuous speech, he said the bridge collapsed which they built.
There's a lovely good evening. You're still watching Millennium TV. Thank you so much for joining us on the Millennium Tonight program. My name is Lovisa Chilufia and I am your host. Do remember to catch us live on your top set decoders on channel 95. And on our Facebook page, we are Millennium TV Zambia. Be sure to tune in and be part of the conversation. Kana Member of Parliament, Honorable Binwell Mpundu, is my guest this evening as we look at is Zambia's democracy under threat. Honorable Mpundu seems to have had a moment last week in Parliament. How are you doing, Honorable?
Avisa, good evening. I'm doing okay. Good evening to those that may be joining us this evening. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, and thank you for also acknowledging our invitation to come on our platform. I think we started off with what transpired in Parliament last week when you speaking about a report from the Committee on Registration and International Agreements, and a report that they brought to Parliament, and you were trying to bring out certain issues. That sparked a lot of controversy in Parliament, and I think 3 ministers are responding to you. Let's begin our conversation from there, Honourable. And firstly, let's touch on you being chased from Parliament last week, Thursday.
So, Lavisa, it looks very clear that the Zambians are now used to me being chased out of Parliament. The only question is, why am I always being chased out of Parliament? Because others would want to think that I'm the problem. And we obviously take this particular incident. So like you rightfully put it, there's a report, presented by a committee of Parliament. And you wish to know, these committees of Parliament are a composition of members from all areas, the ruling party, the opposition, independents.
Right.
And so this particular committee is a committee that looks at international agreements and the like. And so part of the assignment they had was to interrogate the statutory instruments. Remember, statutory instruments are like subsidiary laws that a government would enact without having to go into Parliament. And so in that report, they reported, remember, this is a report that is tabled before Parliament. We are given this report prior to the conversation in Parliament to read through. Okay? Now, there are certain members who don't read. Okay? Some of us take an interest in reading. And when we find interesting matters, we even go an extra mile to interrogate, or rather to interact with the members of the committee. Okay? To understand what was here, what was here, what was here. And on the subject of public-private partnership projects, I have taken an interest, and I've spoken around that subject for quite a good number of years. And so when I saw this report, I actually even went and interacted with the committee members. I interacted with the committee chairperson, got insights as to what exactly they found on the ground. So I was speaking, Lovisa, from with authority, because I had first-hand information. Besides just reading the report, I even interacted with the members of the committee. And so whatever it is that I spoke to was, number one, first of all, tabled before the Parliament. The chairman who moved the motion spoke to the issues of the unfair manner in which revenues around the toll gates are being shared between government and the companies that have been given to manage those toll gates. That's number one. Number two, the chairman spoke to the shoddy works on the projects that are being undertaken, using the PPP model. Right. And he cited the roads. So this conversation was debated by three people. The chairperson who moved the motion, the seconder who was so the chairperson is an MP from PF, the seconder is an MP from UPND for Kwacha, who also went through the same lamentations of the committee. They made observations and they made recommendations around, the poor works being displayed on these PPP projects. I simply spoke to what had already been spoken to. I mentioned of the shoddy works on the number of these projects. You are aware there are already 3 projects we can speak to. The Sakanya Ndola Road. Right. As we speak, Lovisa, the Sakanya Road has actually been ripped off completely because government has discovered it was done shoddily. In fact, before this ripping, the Minister of the Copper Belt had actually visited the site and lamented that government was being duped because of the road that failed just within 3 weeks of it being commissioned. So the Minister of the Copper Belt spoke to this problem. The committee spoke to this problem. Today, as we speak, the entire stretch has been ripped off. What does it say? The shoddy works. I spoke to Masangano Road, which is a road from Luansha connecting into the Ndola Lusaka dual carriageway. Right. That road, if you go there, Lovisa, has been patched all the way from one end to the next. Now, you don't patch a road that has been done correctly within a year. At least, if you're going to start patching...
According to your submission, this was a road that was done 6 months ago.
Exactly. This is a road that has just been commissioned some 6 months ago. You don't start patching a road, for argument's sake, within a year or 2 years at most. You don't. It means something failed. It means shoddy works were done. Then I spoke to the collapsed bridge on the Chingola-Chililabombwe Road. At which point, first of all, I was challenged by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, suggesting that I was lying when I spoke to the shoddy works. The minister forgot that actually the people that moved the report spoke about the shoddy works on these roads. The minister also, I don't know in what space he lives, did not even know that his counterpart from the Copper Belt had actually visited the road and spoke about the shoddy works on the road. Now, I was again interrupted by the second minister, the Minister of Commerce, when I spoke about the Chingola Road, suggesting that the bridge, or namely that the bridge had failed or collapsed. At which point the minister, Chipoka, challenged me that this bridge was actually not done by the consortium. The consortium simply built a bridge, or rather the road, over an old bridge, which apparently suggested was done by PF. Let's get these facts right. When the bridge on the Chingola-Chililabombwe Road collapsed, there was a mysterious statement that was presented to Parliament by Minister Milupi. Okay? If you go to the submission of Honorable Milupi, he actually informed Parliament, acknowledged this failed bridge, and actually informed Parliament that the consortium were going to repair this bridge and they were going to foot the entire cost of these repairs. Now, Lovisa, you know that you can't repair something you didn't do. So if Bamilupi informed Parliament that the consortium is going to bear the full cost of the repairs of this bridge that collapsed, how can another minister suggest that this bridge was not built by the consortium? In any case, they want to always run to blaming PF. PF did that. I don't think that people in their normal state of mind would allow for a road to be built over an old bridge made out of culverts. If that is what my colleagues in the government are suggesting, that they've built a road over an old bridge built out of just culverts. But the truth between you and me is that that bridge was built by the consortium. That is why today as we speak, the consortium has been mandated to rebuild that bridge and bear the full costs of that undertaking. So when you look at all this, did I lie anywhere? No, I didn't. I actually spoke the truth. Now, I also spoke about the decision on the Ndola-Lusaka-Dio carriageway, where government decided to give the toll gates to the consortium midway before they could complete the project. Now, the arrangement of a PPP project is such that the toll gates are only given to a or rather to the contractor when the contractor has completed the works. Now, it is on the premise that you give them the toll gates to begin to collect their investment or whatever they invested in. So what would then be the rationale for you to give them to start managing the toll gates before they invest? Now, the statutory instrument that Msokotwani signed that allowed him to give the toll gates to this consortium was on the pretext, I underline that word, pretext that this consortium will start collecting the monies from our toll gates before they complete, so that they use that money to repair the old road. Remember, this project, the Dio carriageway, has got two sections. There's the old existing road from Ndola to Lusaka, which has got 2 lanes.
Right.
And there's a new road that is being built, also 2 lanes. So this consortium started with the new road, okay, the green field. And they expected to go to the brown field, the old road. Now, the rationale was, as they are working on the new road, this old road must be passable, meaning that there must be repair works every now and then so that the traffic flow is, smooth. So the minister suggested, we have given this target so that the consortium can be repairing this old road to allow smooth passage of vehicles as they are doing the new road. Now, at the point when this decision was made, some sections of the new road had already been completed and traffic had already started using the new road.
Right.
Now, when that started happening, the consortium moved to the old road and started doing the actual works and not repair works. Do you understand what I mean, right? So if you're going to give somebody targets to collect money to do repair works, and you find they're doing the actual works and not the repair works, the question is, what money are they using then to do the actual works? It is the money, obviously, from the targets. That is what I presented in Parliament, that no, Minister, in essence, this consortium is using our money. The money is from the targets. Remember, they went to borrow money, $650 million. Which is supposed to cater for the entire 2 stretch or 2 lanes or the other 2 sections. But midway, you give them the targets, they begin to collect your money on the pretext that they are going to do repair works, which repair works they are not doing. They are actually doing the actual works. So what are we supposed to conclude? Okay?
Right.
The conclusion is they are obviously using our money is being collected from the targets to do the actual works. And that is what led to Msokotwani now, instead of responding, by the way, the setup of Parliament is that when there's a motion, we debate, both the opposition and the ruling party MPs would debate, those who are agreeing and those who are not agreeing. But then at the end of the debate, the ministers are given an opportunity to now respond to the issues that could have been raised. So the ministers don't need to engage in the debate. They will have a space in which they can now debate to debunk some of the assertions you could have made. So the 2 ministers who interrupted me had an opportunity to debate that matter
or rather to come and respond to the matters that I raised. But as usual, Speaker Moyo allowed them to interrupt me twice. And in the interruptions, they were simply making innuendos or suppositions or accusations that I was lying.
Right.
Interestingly, Bamsokotwani, instead of responding to the issues I raised, went on to now accuse me. In fact, he went to attack my character, that I am a very unreliable person because I peddle falsehood. He even referred to a matter that was outside the conversation, in which matter somebody had alleged that Bamsokotwani had created a company together with his mate, not me. But in his grand scheme of things, because he was enjoying immunity and was being protected by the speaker, he went on to attack me. And interestingly, the speaker allows him to have a field day. The rules of parliament are that you cannot debate or speak about another member. Very clear rules. You don't debate another member. But look at the fashion of Msokotwani. He goes to attack me, attack my character, literally undress me, and the speaker allows. When I tried to protest, according to the rules, because the rules of parliament dictates that when something wrong is said, you raise a point of order. I tried to raise a point of order to signal to the speaker that this man was actually abrogating the rules. The speaker allows him to continue attacking me. And when I continue protesting, I am the one who's sent out.
How is it that you're always the one falling victim? The Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, has, I think, has stopped you from debating on the floor of the House that you are peddling falsehoods. I think Deputy Speaker Moyo also spoke about, how education is important, and, the qualifications of a member of parliament is that you should at least possess a grade 12 certificate. He spoke to those issues. Why do you always find yourself falling victim in parliament?
So I've just spoken to when I fell victim at the hands of Speaker Moyo. Unfairly so. I think if anyone looks at things objectively, you can see that I was being treated unfairly. And the worst part is that the speaker goes on, first of all, sends me out and remains now undressing me. This is the first time in the history of parliaments, be it in Zambia or anywhere in the world, where a speaker would take the floor, would use his authority to undress a member of parliament, to an extent of suggesting that I am a wrong person to go to parliament. Now, if I was to go that route, I think that the people of Zambia would judge between me and speaker who deserves to be in parliament. Oh, by the way, Lovisa, I'm very well educated to be in that parliament. I possess one qualification that many of Zambians would only pray to have. I am one of the first Zambians who had a NATEC qualification. NATEC used to be a privileged qualification in Zambia at the point when I got it. Okay, it could not even be equated to a bachelor's in accounts. It was much more superior. Industries used to seek after NATEC qualified accountants, and I was one of those. In fact, I got my NATEC in a record time of 1 year 6 months, when everybody who had gone to elite schools failed to do it in 2 years. So if you ask me, if you interrogate the statement of Speaker Moyo, I'm actually well qualified, maybe more than him. Because besides my accountancy qualification, I even have a diploma in law. I have at least basic understanding of how the law is, compared to Moyo, who doesn't have any understanding in the law. So in terms of qualification, he was completely offside. He doesn't even need to bring it, because how did I go to parliament? I qualified to go to parliament because I met the benchmark, which is the grade 12. Otherwise, I couldn't be in parliament. Now, coming to the speaker, Nelly Muti, who also suggested I peddle lies or falsehood. Speaker Moyo sent me out of parliament because I brought up the issue of CBU, where students had not been paid their meal allowances for 3 months. In the response of the Minister of Education then, he admitted that government had only paid 20 days out of the 3 months that I suggested the students had not been paid. Interestingly, all of you as citizens saw what followed at CBU. The following day, when I raised these matters, the students were being paid. The question is, who lied? The Minister of Education lied. The Speaker of Parliament misconducted herself because the Speaker suggested I did not provide evidence. When I suggested I was having information on my phone, she suggested you cannot rely on information on the phone. Meanwhile, she admitted the submission of the minister who relied on what was on the phone. Animal farm. Some animals are more equal than others. How do you allow one person to use the phone to tender, evidence, but you stop the other person from tendering information or evidence on the phone? So if you are to ask again, Lovisa, am I the problem? I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it to the Zambian people. Am I the problem when you objectively look at all these happenings in Parliament? What I will never do, however, is to be gagged not to speak the truth. My father taught me one virtue or one lesson. He told me, my son, always stand on the truth, because the truth shall always set you free. And me, I am not scared of facing any controversial issue for as long as I'm standing on the truth. I challenge anybody. In fact, the other day I went on my Facebook page where I posted, if there's any Zambian today that has seen me comment on falsehood or post falsehoods or peddled falsehood, let them post and I was going to pay them money. And today I want to take this public engagement. If there's anybody who thinks that I have peddled lies in Zambia, they must go and use cyber laws. And I want to challenge Msokotwani. If he's a man worth his salt, let him go to the police and report me for peddling lies.
Right. Do you think, with your outbursts sometimes in Parliament, Honourable, that you use your emotions a lot, to a point that you use certain words that you probably didn't even mean to use, but you use them, and because of those words, you're even suspended from Parliament? Do you think you act on emotions?
Every word I use, they are well meant, or I actually need to use, or I would.
Let's take, for example,
use them rightfully.
Let's take, for example, Ichimutwe.
So let me tell you where I come from. Where I come from, when you say Ichimutwe, it's a normal expression of or a response to a provocation, as an example. Okay? Ichimona, Ichimutwe, Ifimatwi, Fimenso. All those are expressions that we use where I come from. I don't know where you come from here in Lusaka, but on the Copper Belt, it's very normal to say Ichimutwe, especially at somebody who is misbehaving. And I've only used that word on people that are misbehaving. Okay? And there's this argument about, no, Mwali Baba Kalamba mu Parliament. In Parliament, we are all equals. There's nothing like Muliba Kalamba, or otherwise, if Muliba Kalamba, you must behave your age. Okay? Now, me, I don't pretend. When you step on my toes, I'll react. The manner of reaction will differ from up to the extent of the provocation. If, as an example, you are going to allege that I am a danger to the nation and myself, and Bamsokotwani was lucky that I had been kicked out, because my reaction would have been very bad. Because it would have been measured against the aggression, because that is unacceptable. You cannot, impugn that I am a danger when all I speak to are facts. If I was to react to Bamoyo with whatever he said, I think Ngamwali Mpatabo, because whatever he said, a normal speaker can never cross those lines. It is not permissible anywhere. And so if you are, expecting me to act like a priest, Lovisa, when you have undressed me, no. I'm sorry. I react based on the aggression. Right. And in that Parliament, Lovisa, unfortunately, we have allowed the speakers to let our friends in the ruling party to, abuse us with impunity. But when we act, we are the villains. Yet we are the victims. Even when we react to these matters, we don't look at the aggressions. Because Binwell is not mad to just react. Binwell reacts when there's an aggression or there is, an abuse. Are you telling me with the abuse I suffered at the hands of Msokotwani, I can't react? Are you telling me the abuse I suffered at the hands of Deputy Speaker Moyo, I can't react? Are we suggesting that, parliamentarians are, aliens who cannot react to provocations? Maybe not me. Okay?
All right. There's been suggestions that Honorable Binwell Mpundu, you're not fit to represent the people of Nkana because of the way you conduct yourself in Parliament. And I think even in the on Thursday, Speaker Moyo, spoke about, spoke to the people of Nkana, actually telling them that next time they should choose wisely who they vote for. And I think he went on to say the people of Nkana are watching you, that this is the person they sent to Parliament. How does it make you feel when people say such things to you?
I have saved the people of Zambia in different capacities now. I saved the city of Kitwe as governor or district commissioner, if you like. Now, Kitwe is not a small city. My record speaks volume of how I handled the city at the time when the city had so much troubles at the hands of gangs, criminals, and all these things. I think that my record, without beating my drums, speaks. Today, I'm privileged at the hands of the people of Nkana to save them. The people of Nkana have an opportunity to, in the next election, because I'm not now presenting myself for election, have an opportunity to elect somebody else if they believe that I have not represented them very well. But I'll tell you something. If you were to compare two people who are both members of Parliament, Binwell Mpundu and Speaker Moyo, let's take away his cape as a speaker. I think you are able to tell the difference. Me, I am not a Mushanina Buwadi. I'm not a Chindankula Mbule. I don't twerk for Nshima. My other colleagues chooses to twerk for Nshima. Okay? My only crime is that I have vowed to hold this government accountable. And oftentimes, I've spoken to the truth. I've called the UPND by their names. Okay? Is it something anyone is prepared to do now? Very few people are prepared to do what I do. Those who are, who don't want to be told the truth are going to go to an extent of saying Binwell Mpundu is not fit to be a member of Parliament. But you know what? What gives me comfort, Lovisa, is that when I walk around the streets, people are encouraging me every day. And I ask a question, do you want me to reduce or ntwale kopamuru? In fact, everybody is saying, fitwale ni, don't sanye ni fibantu if because meaning fi UPND. Fitwale ni, don't sanye ni, because fiachira mungu tusenda kwa taturi bantu. So I can tell you that Moyo can say what he said. I take my comfort in knowing that people are okay with what I'm doing.
All right. Before we proceed, Honorable, let's just quickly take a look at the clip that led to Honorable Binwell Mpundu being chased out of Parliament. Then we get into our next conversation on the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I had no intention of debating, but since a number of things, false allegations have been made, it is my responsibility to respond to those. I think the first thing is to say that on so many occasions on this House, I've asked colleagues to invest in knowledge, because if you speak from absence of knowledge, if you speak falsehoods, you are a danger to yourself, you are also a danger to the nation. Because when you make allegations which are false, and then you get dragged to court, get arrested, then you say that the government is unfair. Mr. Speaker, I want to demonstrate, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member for Nkana, You had an opportunity. No one interjected. No one interrupted. May you take your seat? The Honorable Minister is on the floor. Let him put his views across. Okay. May you proceed?
Mr. Speaker, I want to demonstrate that the previous speaker is a danger to himself and a danger to the country. And he's got that habit, Mr. Speaker, of peddling falsehoods. Just last week, he was alleging that this person speaking had formed a company together with a maid, and that company was given a big contract. I'm demonstrating that this man is unreliable. Okay? I'm demonstrating that he's unreliable. Therefore, the allegation that...
May you take your seat, Honorable Member? No, may you take your seat? Which no, just take your seat there.
Yeah, just wait.
Honorable Member for Nkana, may you leave my chamber. Leave the chamber. Just leave the chamber. No. You are expected to be honorable. And the people of Nkana are watching.
We will not come back. You can't even see the age.
No, it's very shameful that the Honorable Member of Parliament would behave in this manner. I think it's a message to the voters. The voters, you have been opportuned to scrutinize the kind of members you are sending to the House.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I had no intention of debating.
Right. Honorable Msokotwani urges people to invest in knowledge.
In knowledge.
It is very important.
I have invested. In fact, if there's a person who invests in understanding things, following one issue from the beginning to the end, is me. And that matter that Msokotwani referred to, the issue of ZAMSA and the joint venture with ACOMS, I can guarantee Msokotwani that I am going to follow it with every fiber in me from the beginning to the end. And if there will be people that will be found to have acted outside the law, to have misconducted themselves, they will not have it easy. But I'll tell you something. I am not bothered by those sentiments because I stand on the truth. You wish to know that Deputy Speaker Moyo has already defected to the UPND, has declared openly that is now a cadre of the UPND. Going to Parliament tomorrow, if the Speaker is going to be asked to preside, I will no longer recognize Moyo as a Deputy Speaker because the Constitution is very clear. When you resign or you join a political party, away from the political party that sponsored you, you cease to be a member of Parliament and your seat must be declared vacant. If you are an independent MP and you join a political party, your seat becomes vacant and you cease to be a member of Parliament. And you cannot be a Deputy Speaker if you are a member of Parliament. And Moyo is a Deputy Speaker because he was a member of Parliament. And by him publicly joining the UPND, he has ceased to be a member of Parliament, and such, I will not recognize him as a speaker.
Right. Let us quickly move on to another conversation, Honorable Mpundu. Let us talk about the internal recruitment of police officers into the police service and the recruitment. I think people have arrived today at Lilai for their training. And we hear that about 3,000 to 4,000 people have been recruited to train under the police service.
A very shameful act. I never thought that in my entire living I would witness this unprecedented, shameful way of doing things by a government. I don't mind, Lovisa, the UPND recruiting their relatives. I don't mind them picking their cadres. I don't mind them going to pick Wonseba Kachema from their farms to go and employ them in the police service. I don't mind. For as long as they should have a decency in publicizing the recruitment and then take the selection process to now fuse in their relatives. That by any standard would be acceptable, that they take advantage of the selection process to fuse in whoever they want to fuse in. But to go ahead and secretly recruit people into the public service is completely foolish of any government. And such impunity should never be allowed to continue in a normal country such as ours. But guess what? This is not the first time these things are happening. In the scheme of things, the UPND believe if Zambia they can do anything they please. They will take it. With a pinch of salt, they will take it. That is why they started with the ZNS. They used the name, no in-house training or recruitment. Okay, these are civilians that we are recruiting. ZNS, there was a parade just recently, a Passover a parade just recently, where they passed out almost 2,000, 1,997. The so-called civilian ZNS officers. Oh, I'm privileged, Lovisa. I grew up in the National Service camp myself. My father used to work for the National Service. You will never find 2,000 civilian workers in ZNS. Okay? And the report suggests that these have been working in ZNS for many years. There is an age limit for anyone to be recruited in the military. There's an age limit. So you cannot suggest that you have recruited all these, who have been working for many years, okay, and let alone they cannot be 2,000, civilians in ZNS. So they started with ZNS. We didn't bother about it. They've now moved to the police. 4,000. Now, when you do these recruitments and you are not transparent, as the case is now, and we conclude or we suspect that you could have actually recruited criminals with an intention that when they are recruited, they wear police uniforms, they are now going to be given specific assignments, like what was revealed by that gentleman who is UPND, that they used to be paratroopers. There used to be special forces within UPND who used to carry out clandestine operations. If we made a conclusion that some of these characters who have been recruited in the police service may actually be criminals or may actually be foreigners who have been drafted with intentions to come and be assigned specific clandestine operations, would you blame us? That is why, to avoid all that, the process of recruiting individuals to go into the military wings or into the security wings must always be transparent. There must be an advertisement, inviting people to apply. There must be a process of assessing, the ability of one to be employed in the military or in the security wings. The only exception, which I've seen over many years, is the OP, Office of the President. These are the only ones who recruit secretly. But ZNS, Army, ZAF, na ku prisons, it is always open. There's never been, history will tell you, there's never been a time when such nonsense have been allowed to happen in a country.
The police service has told us that they're using an old database. And,
which database?
For those that applied in 2023, and we're also being told that these are also those ones that have been working under the police service as civilians, and some of them that have just got skills.
That nonsense called database doesn't exist at the police service, Lovisa. There is no database. All those who have not been picked in the police service in the previous recruitments are let go just like that. Every new recruitment, people apply. Why? Because of the age factor. To recruit people in the police service, there is age consideration. So if we were to go by database, we could have picked people that were left many, many years ago, but they would have been out of age for recruitment. So that nonsense of database does not exist in the police service. We know you are alive to a letter that was written by Secretary General Imenda of the UPND, who instructed their party functionaries to identify individuals from their party structures to be recruited in the exercise. How do you think this is a coincidence that today the same number he spoke about is being recruited, and secretly so? These people who have been recruited are cadres of the UPND, they are relatives of the UPND, and I would not be surprised if we hear there could be criminals as part of these people who are being recruited. I would not be surprised.
I saw a message, I think you received a message from one of your followers. They sent you a WhatsApp saying people start killing themselves because of the recruitment that has happened under the police service and because it wasn't advertised.
I actually posted two statements.
Two statements, yes.
Two messages. But I can tell you, my message is full of young people who are at a point, at a verge of taking their lives because of the disappointment they've suffered. Now I'll tell you the scenario. In Zambia today, the rate of unemployment is very high. There are no opportunities anywhere for young people to get employed. Sadly today, the UPND even have the audacity to go and, fool the young people by way of creating an app they are calling Imisepela. Okay? But your guess is as good as mine. The Imisepela app is simply for the UPND to collect information of our young people. Because nobody will tell you they've gotten a job out of Imisepela app. Because the Imisepela app is asking young people to have 10 years experience. Ala kwatasha numuntu 10 years experience ufumine ku school. And are you really intending to employ the young people if you're going to ask them for 10 years? Now, interestingly today, the young people don't have opportunities anywhere. And, in a situation where there is high levels of unemployment, the only hope for young people is such exercise as recruitment into security wings. So every year in, every year out, young people have waited for these recruitments for them to have a chance, especially in desperate times like this. So when they now miss out not because they applied and could not meet the criteria, miss out because the government chose to play evil schemes in recruiting people into security wings. They feel a sense of hopelessness, and you can't blame them if they go to contemplating taking their lives. I want to appeal to the young people. Unfortunately, there is a change of government coming in August. I know you are disappointed. Please hold your fire. Don't take your life. There are more opportunities coming after this ruthless government goes. The only chance the young people have now is to kick this government out of power so that the next government could give opportunities for every Zambian and not just give opportunities to relatives. Are we all going to be relatives of the UPND for us to be able to get jobs? Are we all going to be UPND for us to get business opportunities? Because today, Rovisa, not just about recruitments. It's also about business opportunities. You can only supply to government, you can only do business with government today if you are a relative to the UPND characters. You can't build a country like that. Today, even promotions for those who are in public service law. Our friends who are educated are now being supervised by juniors for as long as the juniors are related to the UPND. You can't build a country on that score. I have challenged my friends in the UPND, even when the president was presenting, was opening parliament and speaking to values and principles. You can't say proudly that you are uniting the country when the people you are appointing into very important positions are all your relatives. You can't unite a country like that. So you can understand the anguish among the young people who feel cheated by the government they cheered for. Remember, over the last couple of months, if not a year, the young people have been, pushed into singing or chanting for the UPND. They started with Kwenyu. Today they are now doing Sotsana. And their hope was that this government we are chanting for would present or would give us opportunities. Remember, even they are coming into power through deception. They lied to the young people that if you want to vote, bari inchitweyo. Bari, business hiyo. Where are those jobs now? They are being given to their relatives. Which is why I have always challenged young people, even the so-called Bill 7, when they said we want to create proportionate representation so that we can also give an opportunity for young people to go to parliament. I told the young people, those 15 seats in parliament, and I can be vindicated now. I'm vindicated. They have already started demonstrating that they don't mean well for the common youth. They are all interested about umwana waba jito, umwana waba chipoka, umwana waba gari, umwana waba nabashala.
Here's an argument from the UPND consultant Oliver Shalala. He says they used to say UPND has neglected its youths and family members. Today it's that it's only employing its youth and family members in Zambia police secretly. Choose your argument.
Who used to say that? It is themselves, they are people that used to say that. So are they telling us they've now responded to their own cadres who complain that they're not being given opportunities? It is not us who say that, because from the word go, we have always seen the UPND prioritize their own people. In jobs, in business opportunities, in everything, they've always prioritized their own people. So again, it will be foolish, and Oliver sometimes I don't think he thinks right. His thinking falls below a person who claims he's even been to school. Is that really a justification for you to do what they've done? Secretly employ people into a security wing. Is that a justification? Because no, people were saying you are not giving opportunities to our people. So in essence, Oliver, who is a member of the UPND media team, is acknowledging that they've employed the UPND cadres because they were being mocked as that they've not, given opportunities to their cadres. Is that what he's saying here? That can only come from somebody who has lost their brains. And Oliver should change his trajectory, his approach to governance. Ukuteka abantu, kuteka na mano. Rovisa kuteka na mano efe twale imbaka lyo kuteka embwa mano kozuko abulo kuteka abantu na mano imbwa ilaya. And what I can see is the young people of Zambia are not going to spare the UPND.
Honorable Mpundu, allow me to take a few calls and all right. For those that are tuned in this evening, the number that you're dialing is 0770813728. Honorable Binwell Mpundu is my guest on the program this night. You can call us, be part of the conversation, and of course tell us what you make of tonight's discussion. Good evening, you're through to the program.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening. Tell us your names and where you're calling from.
My name is Chileshe.
Yes, Mr. Chileshe.
Honorable Mpundu, good evening.
Good evening, Wacheshe Monishan.
Wino mwabomba sana.
Yoto wabomba kana.
Napenda wana mbesi ya kuita tukitani guide usheni wa president or wa honorable.
I never feel honorable, but never president wacha abaije. So kuti mwasara.
Eso matrapo evo fine. Eso matrapo evo fine. Umfo eno honorable.
Emkwai.
Okumitemwa. Tuamitemwa.
Emkwai.
Some of us like me. I am a UPND member. Mama fimbo mkalamba wandi. Fileki member tutulanda ulapitira malire. So limo mulero neshago kutira.
Pitira malire.
Bala pitira ko. Mukufilanda. So it's an encourage Mpundu chako watu. You are one of our future leaders. And we are asking you to position yourself so that you gain more respect even to the coming generation. So it's on around the Chakwati. Lelandile, Mr. Peralando Kwati, Mr. Peranash, Sana phone and Varefa Nokufa. Number one, maybe the reason why Varefa Nokufa, you are one of the reasons. Because you dumped them, because you were representing each other, and many young people had hope to say, aha,
Mr. Chilesh, I'll ask you to wind up. I'll ask you to wind up. Mr. Chilesh, thank you so much. 0770813728 is the number that you're getting in touch with us on to be part of the program. Do remember to also catch us live on our Facebook page and leave us a comment in our comment section. It is Millennium TV Zambia. Honorable Binwell Mpundu is my guest this evening as we look at Zambia's democracy and the threat. And of course, touching on what led to him being just out of Parliament on Thursday last week, and of course, just other national matters of interest. The number is 0770813728. That is the number that you're getting in touch with us on. Honorable, let you respond to Mr. Chilesh.
Awe Chilesh wandi Buru wandi mwapusa. Aya amensha kusamba mwanu apapena. The young people who are contemplating committing suicide, mula nduwa disappointment yabuteko bwenu. Me and each other deciding to be part of the alliance has got no place in what you have just suggested. In fact, we need to act responsibly as leaders entrusted with power to govern our people. If chitile by UPND, it cannot be justified by anyone who quote the 5 senses. Ububu nangwa bulangire ba UPND cannot be tolerated in any function of society. You can do crazy things, but you cannot cross that line. The line of recruiting people into security wings such as police, ukubomfyo bufunfuntungu, cannot be accepted. Elo bachileshe no brulu wandi, wika wekeshapo no kupera justification hili yonse.
Allow me to take another call, Mr. Honorable Mpundu. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tell us your names and where you're calling us from. Please move away from the noise.
From Mundola.
Your names?
Victor.
Yes, Victor.
Good evening, Honorable.
Yes, Victor Mulishani Vando.
Victor, Selen Kopachongo.
Mulishani kwa TV. Tulifia wino. If it is take a filepa pusha. Na enewe nena chika ipusha mkachelo na tipushe kwa riwa kustari kuruti muvumvi solo. Uteko ngata tuchenjele tukaisanga muli mwamone. Then database. Kwa mi na tushare 5 times ni database ini ya isa kwenye. I'm a teacher by professional with a degree. But kusanga wachitire graduate yesterday. Aisanga Paris. 4 years down the line today shala. So ngacha kwewa timwe ntungrishe sunga mwai katana. Utilimbi chaba kongo mwakubera twachinja ko uteko kwena ina shasekelamu. Twafueni ko kwena.
Victor, thank you so much.
Ero mwele ko kuleto landila ko ni mutuchetekeremu. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 0770813728 is the number to get in touch with us on the program. And on our Facebook page, we are Millennium TV Zambia. Do leave us a comment in our comment section and be part of this evening's conversation. You can call us on the number that is on your screen. It is 0770813728. You can send us a direct message to the same number. You can also reach us on WhatsApp. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, please reduce the volume on your TV.
Okay, you are getting me now?
No, we are able to get you. Reduce the volume on your TV and kindly use your phone to listen.
Okay. I wanted to find out from Mr. Pino. How are you, Mr. Pino?
Tell us your names, please.
I'm Lloyd Mumba from Lusaka.
Yes, Lloyd.
Yes. Kwa Binwell.
Mkwai.
Parishani Mkwai.
Ndifewe na wakalamba Mulishani.
Atrefe bueno, mwandi na Binwell, so ningaranda koine.
Lloyd boyshani ko volume ku TV.
Ibo ko tingaranda ko Binwell mwandi ni mu from Parliament. From Parliament, we know that mu Parliament abengi tawacha represent according to wafuma. Imumule chirakucha representative of Zambians. That's why you find that most of those people in Parliament valaland that but it's only you who can talk.
Lloyd, what is your point?
Assistant Speaker of the National Assembly.
Lloyd, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, 0770813728 is the number that you're getting in touch with us on. We'll quickly take 2 more calls and allow Honorable Mpundu to respond. You can call us on the number that is on your screen. It is 0770813728. That is the number to dial to be part of the conversation this evening. On our Facebook page, it is Millennium TV Zambia. Do leave us a comment in our comment section and be part of the conversation. As we wait for those 2 calls, Honorable Mpundu, I'll let you respond to Victor from Dola and Lloyd Mumba from Lusaka. Or before you respond, allow me to take this call. Good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, senior citizen Mwangala.
Exactly, yes. Good evening.
Good evening, Mwangala. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, let me thank you for your courage. Because to speak in the manner that you speak, it's only people that are honest that speak in the manner that you speak.
Thank you.
To be sincere is to speak in the manner that you speak.
Thank you.
Some people are afraid of speaking in the manner of maybe they think their own lives to catch up with them. But for you, me, I'm really excited. Please continue doing what you are doing, because this government, if we are not very careful, they will take us for granted. And a lot of bad things are coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, senior citizen, for that contribution. 077081 is the number that you're getting in touch with us on. You also catch us live on our Facebook page, Millennium Zambia. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam.
Good evening, sir. Your names and where you're calling us from?
Kalua within Lusaka.
Yes, Kalua.
The Honorable, how are you?
I'm okay, Kalua Munishan.
Thank you.
How
I wish to have 2 or 5 members of parliament like you are.
Thank
and to
you.
be honest, in Zambia, people, they don't want to the people who speak the truth.
Because
you speak for the people.
Thank
you don't
you.
speak for the calling of the stomach. A lot of them, they speak more than one sala. But you speak the truth. That's why a lot of them, they hate you. We know that. But continue speaking for the people. We love you as youth.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. I'll let Honorable Mpundu respond, and as he's also responding, we'll try and take 2 or 3 calls before we wind up with our program.
So the visa, Mr. Mwangala, senior citizen, says continue. You remember, you can now compare and contrast. But Moyo says we don't need people of Binwell's caliber. But senior citizen Mwangala says we thank you for the courage. Continue speaking, because we will take over. If we don't hold it accountable, they are going to bring trouble. And I can tell the Zambian people, by UPND will bring trouble in this country because of the things they are trying to do. The recruitment of, people secretly is a recipe for trouble. The amendment of the law, the intention to amend the laws, one of the intention is to amend the electoral law. The attempt to try and remove participants from elections. President. It's a recipe for anarchy. If we don't speak, if we don't stand up against these vices, we are going to find ourselves into trouble. Kaluba says, if we add 2 or 5, that I think you can now compare. The young people, Kaluba is a young person who says the youths love me because I'm speaking for them. If I wanted, Lovisa, I could make a call to the UPND and start dining with them. I have chosen to stand with the people because I want to be chula. The young people who are messaging me, telling me about the problems, they are going through pain. The disappointment at a government they thought would prioritize their interests is overwhelming on the young people, which is why it is our job to give them reassurance or assurance that at least the next government is going to be far better than this. That is why I speak. I come from that position of desperation myself, Rovisa. I understand the pain the young people are going through by being duped around the app ya misepela. Meanwhile, in the background, Victor Ovundola also has lamented that it is shocking to see what is happening. I just got a call when I was coming into the studio by a gentleman who says, is actually a nurse. I completed my education 4 years ago and I've been applying for the last 3 years. Today, the health workers have been recruited. He has seen Aba Puishishe last year being recruited. If they are speaking of database, how are they not picking people like Victor Aba Puile 4 years ago and he has got a degree in teaching? How are they picking people that completed yesterday? It's because of Ufunfun Tungwaba UPND, where they are only picking people who are related to them. Mumba Lloyd of Lusaka says, Vaemu Parliament, Vakonka Fiokunwa tea. There are very few who are standing in to speak for the people, and I am one of those who has pledged to stand with the people. And I can tell you, Lovisa, when you stand on the truth, it's a narrow road to, the road to truth is a narrow road to walk. A lot of people are choosing to dine with the UPND because, number one, most of these MPs and politicians who are jumping the UPND, some of them, they are politicians of the bedi. Venama politics yansala. Okay? Kudia nabadi po. Now, politics should not be that. Politics is a service. Okay? You must stand with the people. You must serve people. Especially that now we are having a situation where young people are contemplating suicide because of a reckless government. Chileshe, senior citizen naboni mbasuka bakaluba mumba bachiranda about how unfair the speaker was with whatever he said. Bakaluba wesu, I think bamoyo nambeshi banomba. He has now even shown his true colors that he's a typical cadre of the UPND. So you can expect, you can now relate with what has been happening in Parliament where, we have had, cadres who are handling the business of the House. What do you expect? At least now they've revealed. You can't pretend for too long. And that is what Speaker Moyo has done. He couldn't have pretended, Charlie Baba, to fail to show that he's actually a UPND cadre. He has now revealed to the nation that I am actually a cadre of the UPND.
Let me take last calls. Mpundu. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello, you're through to the program. Your name is and where you're calling us from? I'm Kwai. I'm Mashinani Kovaletumina. Atwanani?
Peter.
Yes, wa Peter.
And what the question yabiri?
Sheni wangu.
Ndifebona ba Petro mulishani.
Bueno. Bushe honorable mu constitution yes. Tayasi minisha president yukuminina independent. Question number 1. Number 2. Bushe kuri ifofu patamjo kuchura tuchura bunchito kuma industry abantu bari fora ba security bari fora ma 1P. Ifwe mukantiri mu myezi nkishita tubombera ko nga umwawazi kuba nesungecho babomba ubukire tubomba kwa turi masrew nga imwe gavumenti yenu nga mwaisanga abana ba muntu bire tukatwalira okulakyula tukyula kwa kyeye niba nani kale masirevu.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, 0770813728 is the number that you're dialing. We'll try and pick two calls before we close. And Honorable, as we are also closing, I wanted you to touch on the issue to do with the recent appointments in the High Court, the Court of Appeal, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, where a notable UPND figure was also appointed to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. I think he was aspiring for the Luanshya seat. But before you respond, good evening. Tasenza chabe bwino muni bwanji.
Tasenza bwino. MP muri bwanji.
Nyiri bwino muri bwanji namwe.
Nyiri bwino.
Dimurandani mazina.
Goma ba MP inaninga kambe kuti mazina yanga nine Costa nitumira urusaga westi.
Yes, Costa.
But chamene nifuno kamba ba MP ni kukondani manini kai ndimwe bafana monga ine.
Hello? I think we have lost Mr. Costa there, and unfortunately, that will be our last call. So yes, Mr. Salifian, the recent appointment of Mr. Sinkala, Honorable, I wanted you to touch on that, and of course, concerns about having free and fair elections when there are these appointments being made to the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Quickly, Peter, I want to say a person can stand as an independent president. Okay, the law allows for anyone like me to go and aspire not under a political party but as an independent. We using or through the Abraham Mpundu, who is Tonse Alliance president, we promise that we are going to revisit labor laws. Chile tukalipo kumona bashimaini bale fola kwati basha slave wages chile tukalipo kumona ba civil servant ukula balunza kufika 700 kwacha ero nishi mitengo ya fintu yadi ya ichiye yeye chile tukalipo kumona a government that has failed to listen to the lamentation of the workers. You talk about minimum wage. There is no way in this age you can have minimum wage at 1,200 or 1,500. Our people deserve decency whenever they are working, whether they are working as bakaboi, they are working as laborers in the farms, they deserve decent, conditions of service. Now, Lovisa, fiamuselu the Electoral Commission of Zambia is like a referee. Chimona Parliamentary, the speaker, iba referee. When you are appointed as speaker, you take off your jacket. Waba fair. Niwe referee. Uyunga takulo mnankwe mfumishe yellow card na red card. Now, any Zambian can be appointed into the Electoral Commission of Zambia as a commissioner. Ichote timuchite is to appoint non-cadres because they will never be, fair or impartial. Okay? If the kuku Electoral Commission of Zambia, fiamuselu, we started voicing out our concerns when Bamwangala Zalomes was appointed. Bamwangala is qualified. She's accomplished. But the fact that she chose to become a cadre of UPND should exclude her from holding a position ku Electoral Commission of Zambia. Kuti baya ingira kwenchito shimbina kwa ikoti ngabalefu kuti baya ingira ba judge. Uyuchi penzi just the other day was arguing with our sister from the UK. Nokuyalando kutira mulechi mona ba opposition. HHL winner. Imagine referee pamupira waba Arsenal na ba Man City ule isa this weekend. Ero referee amieba ba Arsenal kwe bati mulechi mona Man City ale winner. Do you expect that referee akalishafe wino? Today, as if that was not enough, nabambi uyu wale foku imina kuluanisha na ma campaign poster alifumia neni mbosha campaign alifumia Sinkala Now, via Mubika as a commissioner, the same people that are going to manage the elections, ebo mwaya pela kuma cadres. You see what we've been talking about, cadreism yaba PF versus cadreism yaba UPND. The cadres in PF were in the market. They were harassing people and doing all the nonsense in the markets. By UPND yama cadres were ma offices. Today, important institutions, Electoral Commission of Zambia is being managed by typical cadres. Afumiafe ishatiya UPND. Uyo, I am the manager my elections. Are you telling me those characters can stand, with impartiality? Fiamuselo ifirechikamu chino chalo, and the people of Zambia must speak out against these despicable actions of the UPND, because the integrity of the elections already is being undermined and compromised. No wonder those characters at ECZ are coming up with an outrageous proposition to amend the law. To bring in what? They went to an extent of suggesting bakafumiepo stamp with badinda kuli ballot paper. Who does that? The Electoral Commission of Zambia went as far as proposing that bakwati amaka ya kushita disqualify ama candidates. A candidate can only be disqualified by the Constitution, which prescribed your qualification, criteria. When you don't meet that qualification criteria, you are disqualified automatically by the Constitution. But if you as an individual officer, you see that Binwell is not supposed to qualify, you can then go to court, meaning that the court can also qualify you or disqualify. To give power to the Electoral Commission of Zambia is offside. The ECZ is also trying to bring in this issue of no certificate must only be signed by Secretary General who is registered at the Registrar of Society. The Registrar of Society does not provide for individuals to be registered as Secretary General. Okay, so to insist that a certificate can only be signed by an individual who is recognized by them as Secretary General is completely foolish. Because what if that person dies today?
Right.
What if that person is bought by the UPND as they are doing Mingalato of theirs? So we have a danger in the name of the people that are managing the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and the people of Zambia should not expect us to have credible elections if those characters are going to continue managing the elections.
Honorable Binwell Mpundu, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for coming. We'll definitely call you again. And Altivia, we come to the end of our program. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kana Member of Parliament, Honorable Binwell Mpundu was my guest this evening. Thank you so much for the calls and all those that were tuning in via our social media, Zambia and Facebook, and of course those that were tuned in via Top Star Channel 95. My name is Lovisa Chilufia. I'll see you tomorrow. Do stay tuned to Millennium TV.